So when I got out of the military in 2020, I immediately entered into the home services industry. It was a field I was familiar with because of my dad had spent years in the home services industry. And at the same time, Lindsay and I became first-time homeowners. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to fix anything. And inevitably, something went wrong in the house. I didn't know how to fix it, so I had to turn to companies to help me. I had to Google and call 4 to 5 different companies. It took a week or so to get on their schedules. Then I had to compare quotes. And really this whole process to solve this simple problem took about 3 weeks. So it was both of those experiences where Lindsay and I said, there's got to be a better solution for homeowners to help in these situations. So we created MyHome. So with MyHome, the homeowner takes a picture of the problem in their home. It gets sent to all of our vetted professionals inside the app. The homeowner then receives virtual quotes. They choose a provider, schedule, and pay all inside the app. So we reduced that 3-week-long process that we were filling into just a couple of minutes. And it's really the most easiest streamlined process to help homeowners maintain their home.
I was 11 years old when I decided that I wanted to go to West Point, the United States Military Academy. And when it came time to apply to colleges, West Point was actually my only application. When I was a senior at West Point, I was actually the 4th woman in West Point history to be appointed as the first captain, which ranked me number 1 out of 4,400 cadets at the academy. But I think the most important aspect of my time at West Point was junior year. I met Gabe and we've been together ever since. After I graduated, I went on to serve for nearly 10 years in the Army as an aviation officer. I had the privilege of flying the Apache helicopter for about 3 of those years before being selected as the first female in U.S. Army history to pilot the AH-6 Little Bird for special operations, which was truly an unbelievably life-changing experience. I'm currently now in my 2nd year at Harvard Business School and pursuing my MBA, and Gabe and I are co-founding our company, MyHome.
I grew up in Garner, North Carolina. I had a grandfather who was a Green Beret in Korea and Vietnam. And although I never got to meet my grandfather, I grew up hearing stories and looking at all of his medals, and I became inspired by his service. And I found West Point as a junior in high school. I did apply to other colleges, but I was lucky enough to get into West Point. I graduated from there in 2014. I became an infantry officer. I served 6.5 years as an infantry officer as a platoon leader and company commander. I deployed to Afghanistan in 2017 as a platoon leader, and I finished my time in the Army in 2020 as a company commander for a basic training company in Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Serving in the Army taught both Gabe and I skills that have been absolutely invaluable as we transition from the military into our civilian life as entrepreneurs. First, it's the ability to identify and mitigate risk. When the stakes are high and information is limited, you learn to make very complex decisions under insurmountable amounts of stress with very little information, which honestly mirrors the challenges that Gabe and I face as founders every day. And then it's the values that you learn, the character that you learn, and the things that we were able to take forward to MyHome. Be a good person, figure it out, and buy a pair of cleats. These values have been inspired by some of the great leaders that we've been, had the privilege of working with in our time in the Army. And we believe that embodying these principles drives positive impact, both on the people that we work with every day, as well as our mission at MyHome. I think that it's part of the Army's mission to continue to care for their soldiers and their families even after their service ends. As veterans, we have access to such a wide range of benefits, and this just helps ease the transition from life after service. For example, I'm using the GI Bill to pursue my MBA, and we also use the VA loan to buy our first home. And these things would not be possible, not nearly easy as they were if it weren't for our time in the Army.
If anybody wants to learn more about the Army, they can go to goarmy.com and they're going to find everything they need there. As far as MyHome, all you have to do is download the app. The way you do that is just go into your app store, search MyHome Experts, and you can find it there, download. Thank you so much.